Hi everyone, this is the demo video for the Project Expense Tracker template. If you have not purchased this template, I will leave links in the description box so you can go ahead and grab your copy. When you purchase this template, the first page is the instructions tab. Here you'll find my contact information as well as a detailed step-by-step guide that can help you get started with using this template. Before I show you the demo copy of this template, I want to show you what it looks like when you purchase it. The first is the setup tab. It does come with some placeholder information that you can delete, and I'll show you how to do that shortly. The expense tracker tab would be blank. There are two dashboards. These two dashboards would be blank as well. These dashboards are activated when we put information into the expense tracker. I'm going to switch over to the demo copy so I can show you exactly how it works. We are in the demo copy of this template, and the first tab is the setup tab. It does come with some placeholders. You can delete it as it is 100% editable. Select everything and click on delete on your keyboard, and you can go ahead and type in your own specific categories. I'm going to go back to what it looked like before to show you what each column contains. So we have the first column, which is the category where you will put in the main categories of things like travel, meals, software, etc. And the subcategories where you put in more specific information. And this way you can organize all of the expenses and then review the data in your dashboard tabs. There's a spot to track the vendor names, the status, approval status, and payment method. This part of the template is going to be used to create drop downs in the expense tracker tab that will make putting in information into that tab a lot quicker. The next area here is where you put in project details, the project name, the project description, and the project budget. Now, it does come with 20 slots. However, this can be expanded, so just let me know if you need more than 20 slots for your projects. And this says US dollars, but this template does come with multiple currencies. And again, if you do purchase this template and you don't see a currency, let me know and I'll be happy to create one for you. The next tab is the project expense tracker. As you can see, I have added in some transactions so you can see what it looks like. I'll go ahead and delete so I can show you how it works. The first column is a date column. Double click, select your date, type in item name. The project name in this column is connected to the project name in the setup tab. So every single transaction should connect to a project so that you can then view that information in the dashboard tab. So let's assign this to office renovation. Then you can choose your category. So this would be furniture. So I guess maybe change this to chair, for example. And then the expense subcategory would be, let's say, office chairs. Next, we'll put the amount, $150, our payment method, credit card, select a vendor, and you can check if this is reimbursable or not. If this is not something you're going to use, you can change this to something else that requires a yes or no because it's already designed for a yes or no response. But if you want to use it for something else that is not a yes or no, just let me know and I'll help customize it further for you. For this example, let's go ahead and click no. Approval status, yes. Now remember, all of these drop downs can be edited in the setup tab except for the reimbursable because this is a yes or no. So if you want to change this or add another option, all you have to do is click on this arrow, click on this pencil icon, and then you can see yes, no, and you can add another item. Let's say pending, change the color to purple, click done. And now it's going to ask you if you want to apply to all. You want to say yes, so apply to all. And now close this out. When we go back here, we can select this as an option, pending. Okay, so this is the only one that you would change from here. The rest of them, change them in the setup tab. Let's do the last one, the expense status. Let's say in progress, and then you can type in whatever note that is relevant to that transaction. A few more things to show you with this table. You can sort and filter. Let's say you've added a bunch of information here and they're not in order. The dates are all mixed up. Go ahead and click on this icon right here next to dates. All right, now we're going to sort A to Z. And as you can see, it goes from the oldest to the most recent. And then you can also sort the other way around if you want the most recent at the top, but just do from Z to A. And we have the most recent transactions all the way at the top. The next thing I want to show you is how to filter. So the filter would make sense for things like project name, category, expensive category, and some of the other ones over here. Let's say I want to see information only for a specific project. Click on this icon. Now we're going to go with filter by values. You see how it says select all 7. So all of them are selected. We want to clear, then select one. So let's say we want to filter client A marketing projects. Click on that and hit OK. As you can see, only these expenses show up here. So you can take a look. And then if you want to filter some more, you can go ahead. So let's say you want to see only the expense subcategories related to print ads. So you can go ahead, clear, print ads. and then you can narrow it down to that one transaction. So that's one way to use it. Another way to use the filter option would be to add new information. So let's say you've added a bunch of information and your list is really long. You don't always want to scroll down to add in new data. Go ahead and click on the icon again. It doesn't matter which column you choose. Just click on any of them. Now we're going to clear and click blanks. Click on that and click OK. Now all of the rows that contain data are collapsed and you can go ahead and type in new information here. Now I have some information here. Go back to the column you filtered to remove the filter. And it's easy to know because make this a little bit bigger. You can see what it looks like. This is how it looks like when it's not filtered. This is what it looks like when the filter is active. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, select all and OK. Now, when we go all the way down here, you can see my entry right here. And then I can also sort to make sure that entry is all the way at the top. So go here, sort Z to A, and then that entry shows up right here. The last part of this is to show you a quick summary table. There is more information in the dashboard, but if you were already here, you can see the number of categories you have, subcategories, total expenses for the current year, and the last area shows you total expenses all time. The next tab is the project dashboard. So there are two dashboards. This one is to look at the data specific to a project. And the second dashboard is to look at all of your projects all together. And of course, because this is the project dashboard, you can filter by project name. So we have all the project names that we entered in the setup tab and we have used to enter information in the tracker tab. Currently, website redesign is selected. Let's change this to client A marketing. When we do this, you can see everything in the template adjusts. The first thing that you see here is that the project description shows up here. And then it shows you the project budget versus expenses. So if you remember the setup tab, in addition to entering the project name and description, you can enter your project budget. And when you start putting in expenses, you can track how you're doing with your project budget. In this section, you can see your top 12 expenses for the project you have selected from the highest to the lowest. Up here in this mini dashboard, you can see total budget, total expenses, the remaining budget. So the difference between these two numbers. And here it tells you if you're under budget or over budget. So let me change this number to show you how this is going to work. So I'm just going to add an expense to this project so that we can see what it looks like when we go over budget. I'm going to add 20,000. Okay. Because I know that will take me over budget. So going back here, you can see now the total expense is 23,000, almost 20% over budget. And in this graph, it also tells you that you have exceeded your budget by 20%. Next, distribution of categories. You can see the breakdown of how much you're spending per category in this graph. And here it shows you subcategories. And if, by the way, your names are too long and you can't read them, just go ahead and click on the bar charts until this square shows up, and we're going to readjust it. Just drag it up. We'll do the same for this one. Just drag it up and close this up. This chart shows you payment amount distribution. So if you're paying by credit card, debit card, things like that. And down here, we have the expense over time. At the end of this dashboard, we have this information, but in a table form. Largest expense, categories, and subcategories. That's what we see in this graph, and your subcategories here. The next tab is your multi-project dashboard. It's going to take all of your projects and show you information based on that without separating them. The first thing you see here is the number of projects, average cost per project, the most expensive projects, the top vendor that you have spent money on, and then it gives you some more breakdown here. So the project name, the amount, and the percentage. So that way you can see the office renovation project only cost 3.8% of all of the expenses versus website redesign, which is about 14.5%. And this is sorted from highest to the lowest, right? We do have a mini dashboard display area here, just like the other one. It shows you the total budget, total expenses, and the percentage over or under budget. This next section here, we have category distribution, subcategory distribution, and expenses versus budget, just like we had in the other dashboard. Okay, here we have a graph that essentially represents the information in this table. And then this graph shows you your different projects as well, but then it shows you the spending breakdown based on category. So you can see, for example, web redesign, construction was the biggest category, next travel, and then marketing. So it captures all the projects and how spending distributes across each project. The The last area here is your expense category and subcategory. So it's essentially the table version of this graph. If you like to see information more in a table format plus the percentage, that's what this is for. So this part is for the category and this section here is for the subcategory. That brings me to the end of this tutorial. Like I said before, if you have not purchased this template, I will leave links in the description box so you can go ahead and grab your copy. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one.